Ladies and gents, welcome back. It seems every day this week I've had a new update on the situation between our farmers and the federal government. There's been the beginnings of a standoff between several of the provinces and the federal agents that are going out to test waters on farmers' lands. And now we have a new update, and this comes from the Counter Signal. This is an exclusive leak about Trudeau installing weapons armories, interrogation rooms for the Ministry of Climate Change. And this is taking place in Manitoba right now. Architectural plans have been leaked to the Counter Signal, revealing Trudeau's sinister plans to weaponize the climate change agenda. The Ministry of Environment and Climate Change Canada, ECCC, is building a new facility in Winnipeg that will be home to a firearms armory, interrogation room, biological labs, media relations office, controlled quiet rooms, and intelligence facilities. The plans, which were drawn up by a firm in Winnipeg, open a window into Trudeau's future plans for climate enforcement. Down the hall from the proposed firearms storage rooms are several evidence rooms, interrogation suites, and adjacent recording rooms. He has pictures up on the website here where you see clearly a firearms storage located in red, and then intelligence, controlled quiet, electronic charging facility storage, shared equipment. And these are just the blueprints. According to a recently posted Indeed.com ad, the ministry is searching to recruit a battalion of climate pollution officers, a unit with the coldly named Environmental Enforcement Directorate. If you emit too much carbon or use too much fertilizer, you just may be on the climate communist hit list, the article reads. The entire facility that was leaked to the Counter Signal is sketched to be over 50,000 square feet, will house hundreds of ECCC staff, and will be also home to weather forecasting staff. The impact assessment IAA, which is quietly passed in the final days of the Trudeau majority government, grants sweeping power over the ministerial enforcement officers, but until now, little has been explained about where and how climate police will be deployed. The IAA empowers agents of the Ministry of Climate Change to enter premises without a warrant to verify compliance or prevent compliance with the act. So what we're talking about here is giving them powers to go into people's premises, onto people's lands, to make sure they're complying with federal regulations when it comes to climate change, anything to do with climate change. Not only that, we're talking future crime here because they're talking about preventing non-compliance. So if they have any doubt that you may comply, they can enter your premises to ensure that you do comply in the future. Trudeau's climate police may enter any project location that affects the environment to take photographs, access computer systems and communication devices, and direct any person to put any machinery, vehicle, or equipment in the place into operation or to cease operating it. Climate police may also prohibit access to the location entirely. This goes way beyond anything any police have ever had power to do in Canada. You could call this, I don't know, maybe a type of secret police. They have words for that in other languages. Gestapo comes to mind, in my humble opinion. It seems to be no coincidence that Climate Police Armory was placed in the heartland of the agricultural production in Canada. This information comes just days after agents dispatched by ECCC were accused of trespassing on private lands in Saskatchewan to collect nitrogen samples, the newest target of Trudeau's climate change agenda. And we have this here. This is Scott Moe, the premier of Saskatchewan, tweeting out, "We're demanding an explanation from federal Minister Guilbeault on why his department is trespassing on private lands without the owner's permission to take water samples from dugouts. Read Minister Cockrill's letter below. Jeremy Cockrill, MLA from Saskatchewan, and Minister of the responsible for Water Security Agency in Saskatchewan, the jurisdiction over what's going on here. We are demanding that an explanation from the federal minister Guilbeault on why his department is trespassing on private lands without owner's permission to take water samples from dugouts. We have received reports of this occurring in several places throughout Saskatchewan. He continues to say, we have advised the federal government that this should cease immediately, and if it does not, there will be considered in violation of the province's Trespass Act. Violation of this act can result in a penalty of $25,000 for repeat offenders and up to 6 months imprisonment on following conviction for first or subsequent offenses, and $200,000 max penalty for any corporation that counsels and or aids in the commission of that offense and leaves a phone number for people who witness any of this trespass occurring in the province. It seems to be no coincidence that this climate police armory was placed in the heartland. That's right. According to the landowners who confronted the federal agents trespassing on their land, they were told that the purpose of them being there was to test the waters of the farmers' dugouts to measure nitrate levels. So they're just following orders, folks. That's all they're doing, but they are following orders that involve trespassing on people's lands. And as we just read, the province is very much interested in protecting those farmers' private property. Trudeau's government recently announced a policy to reduce the use of fertilizer on Canadian farms by 30%. This is in lockstep with all the other World Economic Forum-led countries and leaderships around the world. We've seen this in the Netherlands right now. This policy has been widely criticized by farmers across the country and provincial governments in the western provinces, with opponents saying it will cripple the food supply. Some observers have said that there's reason to suspect that these actions are the first steps in replicating the attacks on farmers that have provoked widespread unrest in the Netherlands and elsewhere in Europe. While the federal government has not yet confirmed it, there is speculation that water sampling is now underway and will be used as a baseline measurement to enforce reductions in fertilizer usage going forward. And this was an exclusive from the Counter Signal. Now, we've seen how much Trudeau cares about the environment when it comes to his own actions. We have here an article from capforcanada.com. Trudeau flies over 128,000 miles in 10 months, works to ban flight tracking. Well, what's that talking about? Climate action can't wait. Since 2015, Canada has been a committed partner to the fight against climate change. We're seeing this all happening now. After which, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau flew somewhere in the area of 400,000 kilometers in private jets over a 6-year period. How much did you travel? That's a good question. How much have you been able to travel in that 6-year period? As reported by National Post in April of 2022, Trudeau has flown nearly 128,000 kilometers in the past 10 months. Even more up to today now. Citing security concerns, the Canadian government has asked U.S. civil aviation authorities to filter Canadian military flights from popular online flight tracking services, a move that has complicated the ability to track the Prime Minister's flight habits. His flying habits are they want to make it more difficult. Why? Oh, well, don't want to know where he's going. No, they're tired of people pointing out the hypocrisy of what's going on between Justin Trudeau and his own ideas of what he wants for the environment. Now, I put out on Twitter yesterday, it's time for the people around the world to take climate change just as seriously as our leaders and celebrities do in practice. And I stand by that. Absolutely stand by that. Now, the question is, well, what do you guys think of this whole situation? Do you think that this is being overblown, or do you think this is going to turn into a big standoff like we saw in the Netherlands? Of course, in the Netherlands, farmers' lands are being threatened. They're being put basically underwater in a financial sense because they've been restricted to how much fertilizer they're able to use on their crops, so their yields will be much lower, reducing their ability to pay off any loans that they have associated with their businesses. We all know that farmers run on very, very, very small margins to even exist in the marketplace. So this is largely considered a land grab by the Rutte government, Rutte, or however you pronounce his name, the government of the Netherlands. Anyway, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think about this. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, do that now. Hit that notification bell to let you know when we go live. I go live every Friday at 6:30 Pacific time, but we do occasionally have a guest on and we do additional live streams. So hit that notification bell and you'll get notified when that happens. Hit that like button and we'll see you in the next video. Keep on trucking.